Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. I am going to hopefully get this out here relatively quickly, so hopefully this will be posted either early Monday morning or hopefully later this evening, which is Sunday. So, you guys watched our last video, which I will drop it somewhere in the top area here. What you guys seen that we got to this point to where we got pretty much the front wall done with the metal, and then I just kind of stopped it there. And a lot of that was just due to lack of having my stuff with me, so I couldn't necessarily make the videos I wanted to make. So now that we're set up a little bit better, I figured I might as well go in, get a little bit more stuff finished. So this is where we left it off before, which we literally, like I said, we literally just have this one front wall done, and of course that'll be rendered out in the thumbnail. But this is kind of what we have done at the moment. So today, what ideally I'd like to get done is to go and get some metal on the sides, and then we'll get the roof done. So what I'll likely end up doing is I'll show one side and then I'll just mirror it to the other side real quick. The back will be a little bit trickier, but it's not going to be that big of an issue. Actually, if I was smart, I would have duplicated that. Well, maybe I did. Oh, I did. Okay, perfect. So we will actually go ahead and start with the back here. So in the previous video, I did, duplicate this previous wall that was up here to have its own duplicated wall. That way so we could use it again. And I just kind of slid it off and hit it. So what we're going to do is just slide it back here. Hopefully the input keys are not taking up too much of your space. I have those in OBS and I can't see that actively at the moment. So if you guys like that, let me know. Or if you don't, please also do let me know and I can make some changes. So anyway, so what we're going to do is just make sure everything's lined up here. It looks like we're lined up pretty good. So I'm going to turn into our wireframe mode here just to make sure everything looks like it's lined up pretty well. So the edge of the metal, or the edge of the activated stuff, is the screen edge here, and it's pretty much lined up right with that piece of steel there, so we'll be good there. So we'll get out of that. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and duplicate this again and just bring it over here, hit H to hide it. We'll use that on the sides as well. It's not the same height, but what that'll allow us to do is we don't have to go in and keep replacing metal after metal after metal. So makes it a little bit easier for us. So what we're going to do is try to get this as close as we can to the edge here without it actually poking through. It is narrow enough that you will have to kind of just see where it is because you won't be able to see it real time, but that looks pretty good. And I'll just be kind of there. Yeah, man, I cannot talk. Be just kind of there. So that's placed there. I don't know. We'll see if we still have. So that's those bars. I'm trying to see if what we have, it's already pre-made here. All right, so there's the door that's pre-made. What I was kind of hoping was that we would have the roof cut out. Yep, there it is. Okay. So this is kind of the same thing that we used last time when we framed out the front metal here. And we're just going to use it once again. Just, it makes our lives so much easier if you're able to duplicate what you have been doing already. So that is honestly how you can get stuff done pretty quickly, is just by, don't necessarily delete everything as soon as you're done with it, because, for instance, we've used this twice. We're going to use the metal walls on a bunch of everything. This sheet of metal will probably be for the roof, yada, yada, yada. So I don't really delete a whole lot out of my Blender projects until I'm like near the finish. So Anyway, so what we're going to do is go and cut this piece of metal. So we're going to make sure that our cutting object is wide enough to cut through all the metal and it's centrally lined up. I'll be a little weird, but that'll work. So what we're going to do now is we will go over here. We do have a modifier that we do have to approve or apply. So you can either go down and hit apply or you can hit Control A. I just generally hit the apply. So that will make that where it's now just one fixed object. So we're going to tab into it real quick. We're going to hit A on our keyboard and we're going to go to Mesh, Cleanup, and Merge by Distance. So as you can see down here in the bottom, that removed 126 vertices. So basically whenever you apply that array modifier, it just duplicates each of the pieces of metal in this case. It doesn't necessarily join them together. So then you're starting to have vertices that are stacking on top of vertices, which is adding extra stuff to your blender, to your blend project, and creating extra faces and all that stuff that we don't really need. So by going in and doing that merge by distance, it's going to take those vertices that are really close to each other and merge them together. And then that's going to get rid of all the extra edges, faces, etc. stuff that we don't need. And it makes it a little bit trickier to help modify this mesh. So we kind of have that done now. As you can see, it took away 126 of them. So now that this is all one mesh, we are just going to go here, select it, go to our modifiers window. I am using 4.1, so this will probably look a little bit different for you guys, but it should be, you're going to be looking for the Boolean modifier. It should be about the same symbol there. And we're going to leave it on difference. And then we're going to go here to object and click the little dropper icon. And we're just going to select this big piece here that we want it to cut. So now that we're looking at it, you can tell right where the cut lines are going to be because I have it lit up to where my selected objects in 4.1 are in this brighter neon green color, which really helps. So that looks good. You want to try to use the exact as much as you can. The fast sometimes can do a little bit better of a job if you're having issues with exact, but it doesn't clean the mesh up quite as good. So try to use exact as much as you can. So this looks good. So we're going to go and apply that. So that's going to make this mesh there. And we're just going to slide this one back out of here. And we're going to hit H to hide it because we don't need it anymore. So as you can see, this metal that was up here is gone. So we're going to tab into this project and we're going to select this face. We're going to hit Control L on our keyboard. And I'm going to switch this to normal. So I'll hit Control L again and it's dork. Awesome. So we'll just select that back face and then we'll go Control L again. And then we're going to hit X and we're going to delete vertices. So that's going to get rid of all that extra stuff that we don't really need on there. And that's going to leave us with a pretty nice looking little edge here. So that is basically the front and the back of this building done. So the next thing we have to do is get our sides done. So now the sides could be a little bit different depending on your length. So if you have like a array or a thing where you have all your metal already lined up, I do not recommend applying this array modifier until you know what you need. That's always why I keep a duplicate of whatever I'm working on. That way, so then if I mess up or something, I can just easily delete that and duplicate a new one in to fix it. So what we kind of have to do here is we actually have to rotate this mesh 90 degrees on our x-axis. And that's going to just do that right there. Then we're going to go to our X viewpoint and we're just going to line it up with the corner here. That looks good. Go here and slide it down this way. Again, we're just going to kind of line it up with the edge here. The metal is thin enough that it's kind of hard to see it. So just going to kind of just set that right there. Let it be. So in this case, it's a little bit shorter. So instead of just having a bunch of that extra metal that we don't really need on there, what we can do is just reduce the count. So we got rid of 2 extra sheets of metal that bring you right to the edge here. And that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to just duplicate it once again, just in case. Slide it off. And also this whole clipping thing that you're seeing is basically just whenever you're moving quite a bit in Blender, it's constantly moving around. So sometimes it'll like clip through things. But as you can see, if you don't really move a whole lot, it stays put. So, but as we start moving again, you can see him kind of flickering, which I'm recording this in 30 FPS and my PC is running at 144 FPS hertz. So it might not be popping up for you guys, but hopefully it is. So you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. Anyway, so that is kind of what is happening there. So now we have this link down. I'm actually going to go and apply this. Then we're just going to go to our Y viewpoint and tab into it. And then hit A. We're going to go and delete or merge our vertices. I don't think that worked. I don't know what just happened. There it goes. So this time we had 114. So, and now what we're going to do is actually go and try to bring this down so we don't have to cut off the top. So if you hit Alt-Z on your keyboard, it'll open up the toggle X-ray mode, which allows you to basically select 3 meshes. That way so we can select the vertices that are on the front and the back. So we're just going to bring this down to right about, oops. So you don't want it too high because the roof will go and clip it, but you don't really want it too low at the same time. I just try to get it kind of lined up with the edge of this as much as I can. So I generally try to line it up to where if you continued this line off here, it would intersect this outside vertice. Not the inside because it'll be a little bit too high, but just the outside, which that's like a couple millimeters. So I doubt you'll even really be able to notice it. But so now that that wall's done, we do have one little thing over here on the edge that we do need to fix here. So I'm going to go and take our negative Y viewpoint here. And I'm just going to kind of line it up, make sure that we're still staying perpendicular to or parallel with that Y viewpoint. And then when I tab back in edit mode, I'm going to go and find our loop cut. And so it's set up to number our cuts of 1 or 12. So we're just going to take your cursor and slide to the left. And it's just going to make it to where there's only 1 cut. And then what we're going to do is just select the face and slide and put our cut right there. And then we're just going to go back to our face select mode and to our move and select the front and back faces, just generally easier, not in X-ray mode. So you can see that looks like it only registered on that front face. So we're actually going to do this a different way. Okay. So sometimes there's better ways. So I apologize for that. I kind of forgot there was a metal pieces of metal down the middle. So that was the main reason for that happening. So if your loop cut doesn't work, you can always use the knife. So then what I do is I just kind of go in here and I find where I want it to stop. I select it. And then I'm just going to go down here, and if you use your hints that are down here towards the bottom, you can see that A blocks an angle constraint. So now it's going to be at 0 or it's just going to be straight up and down. And C is also your cut through. So if you hit C, it'll cut through the entire mesh that you're working with. So that's what we're going to do. And once we're done, we're just going to hit enter. I believe it's enter. It is not enter. My bad. It's been a hot minute since I've been in Blender, if I'm being dead honest. It's been a crazy last couple weeks. So we're just doing it. So we're just going to select right there, go down, hit our A, and hit our C. Now you're going to want to do that before you click again, because that's going to make it apply to that. And then that time you do hit enter, I just missed forgetting to click the extra last time. that's basically going to be a loop cut, but it's going to be exactly where you want without actually having to mess up the mesh. So now that that's done, we're just going to go back into our face mode and remove, and we're going to select these faces, do the same thing on this side, hit X, and we're just going to hit delete faces. Sometimes if you hit vertices, it'll sometimes include this vertice, which then will delete your next mesh. You don't really want to do that. So that is how you do a sidewall. Pretty easy. Not anything that's overly crazy. So, okay, so I believe we are centered around the origin. So what we're going to do is go Shift S1, and that's going to put the cursor to the origin. Then we're going to right click on the wall that we just did. And we're going to hit Set Origin to 3D Cursor. So you can see now move the X, Y, and Z controller to the center there. Then we're going to go over to our modifiers. And then we're going to go and use our mirror modifier. And just like that, it's going to mirror it right across. We don't have to redo everything we just did. And we're going to hit apply, and voila. So now we have metal on all four sides of our shed. So next thing up will be the roof. So that's what we will do next. So one little thing I have figured out with the roof is if you go in and you can select one of these top lines of this and hit Control S2, which will put the cursor there, you can click on your metal and hit click to snap to cursor, and it'll put it right there. That way, so you don't actually have to guess where it should go. And then this will give you a very good point of, okay, this is where I need it to be type of thing. So now it's there. Does look like we do need to rotate it. We're going to go and rotate it 90 degrees on the X or the Z axis, excuse me. So it's there. So what I like to do with the roof is to make sure that what angle we're going to be working with will be what we're elevating in our X axis. So I'm going to hit Control A and go rotation scale, but then I'm also going to rotate on our X axis negative 90 degrees. So that's going to lay the metal down parallel with what the Y axis would be, or X axis, my gosh. So now it's laying down perfectly, so now we can, which I don't even remember if I set this up right or not, but what you can do is just kind of rotate it, which is kind of hard to see in this sense. But if you hold down Shift, you get a little bit finer movement controls. So we'll try this and see if it'll work. So as you can see, we're a little bit short of the peak here. So we're just going to hit this little plus or increase icon on our Y dimensions. Hopefully that will. So if you tab in edit mode, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So it looks like we're just a little bit over. That one's a little bit short. But if we're short, we can just put the ridge cap will cover that. So that's what we're going to do. So now that that is laid in there perfectly, what is happening here? Oh, interesting. That's something that you don't generally see happen. So we will also fix this real quick. I wonder if it's on the other side too. So we're going to select that, and we're just going to hit click on this vertice here, and then we're going to go and hit our C button. That way, so we'll cut all the way through. And you're just going to kind of have to eyeball it with the top of the slope, and that looks pretty good to me. So I'll just click there and hit enter, and then we'll select our face tool and delete that face and delete the face back. Oh, what just happened? Look, I bet it did it on the back side. I bet that's what I was seeing. Little imperfections like that will sometimes show me up the wall. I don't really know where that came from, but I assume it was something weird with the cutting mesh, which isn't that big of a deal. So now you guys know how to fix these little issues too. So we're going to do the exact same thing here. So go back to our knife tool, select that vertice, hit C to cut through, just kind of eyeball the slope, hit enter, select the face. Nope, not the knife tool. There we go. And faces and faces. Okay, perfect. So now that fixed that issue, that looks a little bit better. We can get back to doing our roof. So what I highly recommend doing is do not control your rotation. Mainly because if you go to mirror it, sometimes it will get a little wonky if you don't have things centered correctly. So I would leave the rotation where it is at the moment. So, and actually I'm trying to remember because we should just build an array along the x-axis. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Generally, I just go with whatever happens, so I don't generally have to talk myself through it. So my apologies. So we're just going to go to our modifier, search, and array, and we're going to be going negative on the y or the x-axis. So we're just going to increase this until we get down here to the edge to where we just have a little bit some overlap, which is okay. So we're just going to apply that. Go there, select everything using your A button, mesh, cleanup, and merge by distance. So once again, that mesh is now fairly optimized. Doesn't have any extra stuff that we don't really need. So then what we're going to do is go and actually do another cut on this. I do recommend going into your X-ray mode if it's like the roof here, because you can just see like right where you need to line stuff up at. So now remember, there'll be trim on a lot of this stuff that way, so then your corners don't have to be matching up perfectly, just like real life. Like, I don't think I've ever made a shed that I'd been like, yeah, let's not worry about throwing any trim on that type of thing. I say shed. These are, you don't generally use a bunch of red iron on sheds, but you guys get the point. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're just going to tab into our edit mode. You guys can still see where the metal for the wall is and then where the metal for the frame is here. So we are really zoomed in. So we're just going to go here and select somewhere kind of in the middle. Probably try to get somewhat close to that. We might move this wall in just a little bit. So we're just going to select right about there. We're just going to zoom out. Then we're going to hit A on our keyboard to lock it in. And then hit C to be able to cut through both sides of it. We're going to click and hit here. And boom, that's done. So we're going to get out of our X-ray or our wireframe, I think is what it's actually called. Can't remember what the... Okay, yeah, so if you hold down Z, it also brings this up. So we were just in wireframe mode, and then now we're going to want to be in our material preview. So I do most of my stuff in material preview, just easier to see where the metal things are lining up at. So we're just going to select that, and we're just going to go here and hit X, and we're just going to delete those faces. So just like that, we have one side of the roof done. Now that that's done, what I highly recommend doing is going Shift S2. Shift S2. Okay, we'll go Shift S1 because I kind of forgot that Shift S2 goes to where your selected point is. Shift S1 goes to this world origin. So that's what we're going to do here. So, okay, so that did work out okay. So then what we're going to do is just go here, make sure our rotation scale is set, and we're right click, go to set origin to 3D cursor, go to add modifier, search, mirror, then we're going to mirror across the y-axis, make sure to deselect the x-axis. So that is kind of where we are at the moment. We're just going to hit apply that, and that is pretty much your metal is done now. So once you get the hang of it, you can really fly through it. But that is our metal sheeting done. Next video will likely be getting all the trim done in the corners and roof and all that stuff. So I just don't have a ton of extra time at the moment to make a really long video, then edit that said video. So hopefully this helped you guys out. If you guys liked it, please do consider liking and subscribing. you guys did like it, if you have like a modding resource place, if you'd like to put it there, I'd be more than glad to have it. If you guys have any questions, please do drop them in the comments or reach out to me. Uh, Preferably Discord's the best place to get a hold of me. I try to respond fairly well to those Discord messages, whether it be a DM or if you go to the Lazy Farms Discord as well. So, but with that, I think we're gonna get off of here, guys. I appreciate it so much for you guys uh, tuning in these videos. Hopefully, these are helping somewhat, and I'm sorry that it's taking so long to get everything out. Just a lot's been going on in my personal life here the last couple months. So, but with that, we will see y'all next time. Have a good one and stay safe.